Okay, so hey everybody, welcome to the Anime Manga Otaku show here on Comic-Con Africa. We are with one of the most identifiable voices that you'll ever be able to come across. It's Brina Palencia. Hi there, Brina. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. So, Brina, firstly, I am overwhelmed by your filmography. I mean, everything that is like noticeable within the anime industry, you've either been involved in or you've appeared on. Let's just Can we take a minute to appreciate that? Like, is that at a point, does it come and go in waves where it hits you where you're like, yo, I've done so much, I've worked on so many things. How does it feel looking back on your career?
It feels very awesome. I feel so lucky and so fortunate because I was an anime fan whenever I was in high school. I had like a group of friends that we would always go and watch Dragon Ball Z after school together. My husband and I, our first kiss was watching Dragon Ball Z.
Nice.
Like if I were to tell, my 15-year-old self that this is where I would end up, I would have been like over the moon. So yeah, I've had such a cool career, and like just getting to work on the stuff that I work on is insanely fun. And it honestly really never gets boring. Like I really genuinely, it's always so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, I mean, voice acting, it seems like you can really just get in there, really just enjoy the moment, really just enjoy the character, really just enjoy the stories. I'm flying through because I really want to hear this particular answer, because it's something that I think outside of anime, you've also dabbled in animation, you've also dabbled in video games. When you get given a brief or you see a character for the first time, now this blows my mind, because looking back again on your filmography, the voices just fit. Like, it's like, yes, this character clearly suits this voice. It's just such a natural fit. How do you find exactly what that character is going to sound like, based off the brief that you get or the picture? How does that whole process work?
Well, with anime, it's especially back in the day, it was a little bit easier because you could find clips of the Japanese online and kind of get an idea and like a feel of the character. It is definitely a lot harder in animation and in video games. With that, I honestly just think it's luck. And it's like, I guess it's just good casting in the sense that like whoever is casting it is like just made the right choice, I guess, because there's plenty of things that I have auditioned for that I did not pick the right voice for and I did not get cast. You know what I mean? So I think it's more just luck of the draw that I just happened to be the one that I just happened to get that audition and just happened to be a good fit. You know what I mean? I don't know that there's necessarily like a special trick to it or anything.
Yeah. I don't know, like, actually there's like something about their like clothing. Like, how much do you analyze the brief that you're given? Like, am I going overboard by saying like you follow their jaw structure?
Well, it's actually changed a lot for me over the years. I used to like obsess over it. Like I would take so much time, and if I could find clips, I would like look at as much as I possibly could, and I would just like way over analyze what the person looked like and how they were dressed and what the age is. And I don't do that so much anymore, partially because it is a little bit more second nature, especially in anime. You can typically look at a character and know like, oh, okay, so that's like, this specific type of character, or there's this specific archetype. Like you can kind of tell, especially in the description. And then as far as like newer stuff, not newer, but like as far as like animation or video games, you do want to pay a lot of attention to the face. Like, what does the mouth look like? And like, also, what is their background? Like, are they part cat? Are they, like, do they have some sort of species about them that could help inform what the character is like? And then as far as like how they look, teeth are a big thing. Like, if they have teeth, like that's going to sound a little bit different if someone has teeth than if not, you know what I mean? But honestly, overall, I pay a little bit less attention. I don't know. I was going to say I pay less attention to the physical characteristics than I do the actual description of the character. Because I could have a different interpretation looking at it just physically and then read the character description and be like, oh, that's not what I thought at all. So like you have to go by the character description a little bit more. So because the thing that sucks with video games and animation is you don't get to see the movement. Like you don't get to see how this character moves, and that informs a lot of the character.
Yeah, and just speaking about your experience over there, I've heard, now this is just myth, so it's like Mythbusters with Kelvin and Brina. When you guys are doing dubs for Japanese anime, I've heard that you sit there with the Japanese coming through your headphones, and then you speak English to like kind of mimic the sound patterns. It's time to bust that myth. Is it true or false, Brina?
So you're saying that you think that we have the Japanese playing underneath us while we're recording?
Yeah. Is that a thing?
It is in Houston. So that's specifically Houston, Texas, because that studio has changed names a million times and I don't remember what their name is right now. Maybe Seraphim? I don't know. It used to be ADV. That's their style of recording. They would actually preview it in Japanese, and they don't have beeps or anything. Everywhere else that you go typically has a 3-beep system. We'll watch it in Japanese first. We don't record it all. We'll watch it in Japanese first, and then we'll go back. They take out all the Japanese audio. Usually you'll have the music and the sound effects in your headphones still, but none of the Japanese audio. And then you'll hear 3 beeps, and then on the 4th imaginary beep, that's where you come in. But it's just your voice. Sometimes if you're lucky enough and other people have recorded, you at least get to hear what you're playing off of. But sometimes you're sort of in a void. I mean, I've recorded before where I was the first person that recorded, and they also didn't have any of the music or the elements. And so it's like just silence, like just in a total like silent void, and you're just sort of having to imagine what everything sounds like.
Jeez. So it's like on top of acting and bringing a character to life, it's like you've also got to combat bringing other characters to life, but just in your head.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's where the director really comes in, that they're very, very important, because there are times that I can kind of hear a scene going a totally different way, but if they're not going to direct the other actor to be in that same direction, then it's going to come across as really unnatural, and it won't sound like two people talking to each other. It's also helpful whenever you know the person. So like anytime that I'm, playing opposite J. Michael Tatum, he's one of my best friends. So like I know what he sounds like, and I can kind of predict how he would interpret a character, because we talk about acting all the time. And I have a lot of, there's lots of other people at Funimation that are that way too. But there's also a lot of new people that I'm just kind of like, I have no clue what they sound like. I've never heard them in my life. I've never even met them. I didn't meet Newton Pittman, who plays Gray in Fairy Tail, and I play Juvia. I don't know if Fairy Tail is a big deal over there.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
I didn't actually, I had met him in passing, but I hadn't had a conversation with him until last year when we did an online convention together. And like, think about that. Last year is the first time. We've been recording Fairy Tail for like a decade, I want to say. Yeah. Like a long time. And I've been playing obsessed with him for that long. And I never had a conversation with him.
That must have been, how did you end that conversation? Like after working together for a decade, did you like shake his hand at the end and say, lovely to meet you?
It wasn't even like in person.
Oh, yes.
Online convention. And so it was just, we were both like kind of over the moon of like, hey, what's up? Let's get to know each other. It was pretty delightful. It was really fun to finally get to like sit and talk to him.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just want to go back to the recording process that you said you guys follow. How does that differ from like an English-based recording session? Because there wouldn't be a need to watch it with the Japanese. Do you still watch the scene that the animators have prepared or the storyboard up until that phase, and then just kind of get a context of where your character is and then record? How does it differ?
I haven't really done much Western animation. So I can't say for certain, but I do know that a lot of times the cool thing with that is that a lot of times everyone in the scene is in the room and they're all recording together. So nothing is animated yet. They animate it to your voice. So you don't even I think sometimes they'll like either just explain like the action that's happening, or they'll show you like a storyboard or something. But typically you do all get to record together, which I'm always very jealous of.
Oh yeah.
Not so isolated. You get to actually like act together and like be surprised by someone's reaction. You know what I mean?
And I think that's one of the underestimation that comes with voiceover artists is they think, oh, okay, well, you can make really cool voices. Like, let's pop you in a recording booth and just read these lines. But I think that a lot of people forget the amount of acting that's also involved to portray the emotions, bring across the character.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, most actors get into acting because of wanting to do either stage or film or something where you're actually reacting to other people. Like, acting is reacting. And so it can really bring a scene to life when you're, responding to stimulus. You're doing dubbing, like, you're so isolated. And even video game stuff. I don't think I've ever done a video game session where I wasn't alone. You're always just like having to work overtime, like work extra in your head to like you said, sort of like create the world around you and try to like put yourself in it. And even with now with video games, you do get to all act together if you're doing the motion capture for that game, which is so fun. But even then, you don't have a set. Like, you could be in a war zone, but you're just on a soundstage, and they'll be like, okay, so you have to jump over this boulder. We're going to just put this, 2x4 here. And this is going to be what that is. So just imagine the boulder. Like, and sometimes I'll have like, a door constructed so that they can get that motion or whatever. But like beyond that, it is so much imagination. But I think because of that, though, I think mocap is my favorite of all the types of acting that I've got to do. Because it is still the interaction with other people while also still having to like imagine all these worlds. And you're not, it's similar to voice acting where you're not totally held back by what your physical appearance is. Like you can still, like I've played, children and whatever in mocap sessions, whereas like I'm not going to play a little kid like on film. No. But mocap to me by far is like the most fun. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier about like all the different voices that you've managed to tackle. But in terms of the range of your voice, now I'm not necessarily trying to hitch a free vocal coach lesson over here. But if you look at a couple of your roles, you get like the very cute characters, so to speak. Then in a couple of the other roles that you've taken on, it's this very ominous and proud kind of thing, all the way down to somebody that's a little bit more playful, as we see in Fairy Tale. How do you adjust your voice like that? Is it? I could imagine starting out, it must have been very conscious. But is it just kind of like a natural slip for you to jump in between all the different characters that you host? Yeah, man, that's pretty easy to just kind of go back and forth. It's like, it's honestly...
Look at that!
It's really not that hard. What's harder is to maintain believability within the parameters of that voice. So like, and finding what those parameters are. Like, because Chopper in One Piece gets incredibly emotional. And he gets very serious, and he gets very scared. He gets, while also, still being super cute and like really fun and like, just like really, really like bubbly and whatever. But like trying to find those parameters of like, what does tough Chopper sound like? What does sad Chopper sound like? What does depressed, like, heartbroken Chopper sound like? Like it, because it still all has to fit in that range. So that is more of the difficulty, because you want to honor those emotions. Like that's, I mean, for me as an actor, like I don't care how silly a character is. If they're going through heartbreak, I want to portray that as honestly and as believably as I possibly can. Just because I just think it's a form of respect for the art form. And so like to just do the voice is one thing, and that's a big misconception that people have, is like, I can do all these voices, I could be a great voice actor. And it's like, well, you're missing the actor part though. Like that's, to me, even more important than just being able to do the voices.
Yeah, totally. And I could imagine that a lot of people come up to you and they're like, I can do voices. Like, what's my next step? Like, I can sound like this, and it's really cool. Like, I'm sure that you get that all the time. Is how like personally, what is your go-to response for that? Is it also mentioning like, look, it's not just, hey, I can make a really cool voice. It's like, seriously, you need to involve yourself in the acting.
Yeah, the go-to response for me is always immediately like, okay, but can you act?
Yeah.
Have you studied acting? Have you done any stage acting? Have you done any film acting? What acting can you do? Because there is a difference. And I always try to like educate them on like what that difference is and how meaningful it is. And that's not to say, I mean, that's awesome if you can do voices. It's not a bad thing. Like, that's fantastic that you can do voices. Cool. You're one step ahead. Now learn how to act. Like, you don't stop there. I still take acting classes on the regular, and I've been acting professionally for almost 20 years. Like, and I fully intend on continuing to study acting. Like, it's not like you don't just like suddenly know everything and then you're done. Like, it's an ongoing process, like learning. That's what makes it fun. Like, if that part's not fun to you, then maybe you should consider a different like a different profession.
Brina, I also wanted to chat to you about, what did I want to chat to you so much? It's just trying to pick which one. Let's chat about the you getting into anime. Was it a very conscious decision with you saying that you haven't really done much Western stuff, that you've been more involved in Eastern entertainment? Was it a conscious decision? Did your career just kind of take a path that way? Or was it kind of like, yeah, let's see where this goes, and it just ended up in an anime way?
Yeah, it was truly just the luck of the draw, man. Like, I just happened to live in the right place at the right time. Like, I told you, we were big Dragon Ball Z fans, and it turned out that Funimation was not that far away. Like, I went to high school in a town called Weatherford, Texas, which was like a 40-minute drive, maybe more, to where the Funimation studios were. And so we were able to get a tour of the studios when I was like 16. And I remember seeing Chris Sabat recording Piccolo, which is funny because Chris is one of my best friends now.
Yeah.
But like, I remember seeing him record and just thinking like, I want to do that. I think I could. And then when I graduated high school, I ended up going to a community college that was like 2 miles from the studio, and like just literally walked in and asked how to audition, which you can't walk in anymore. You'll get blacklisted, you'll get kicked out, you'll get escorted out. But then no one even knew that they existed, really. I was just a big enough nerd that I knew that they were there. And it was funny because like when I walked in, I was in like the more business side, so it was all cubicles, and I remember just walking in and being like, hello? Does anyone know how you audition people? Like, how I can audition? And like one woman who I don't think even works there anymore, probably, she was just like, she just like popped her head out of it. I don't know. We should find that out. And she just like dragged me around the offices, just like, hey, do you know how she would audition for us? I don't know, why don't you have so-and-so in marketing? Okay. And like just went back and forth to all these different people. And finally found the talent coordinator. And then I got a number that you could call back then to be like put on a list for open calls. And then I proceeded to call that number every week for like 2 months. They finally let me audition. And again, that's one of those things that like I hear people nowadays who try to do that and then they get blacklisted, you know what I mean? Or they're just seen as like obnoxious or annoying because there's so many people who are doing it now. But like I said, back then, like no one really knew that it existed. And so like me being obnoxious like that was just, I think, just sort of seen as like plucky, you know. I was just kind of like, oh, look at this go-getter. Like, so I was just so lucky to be at the right place at the right time. And it just had, and you know, I got one audition, didn't get cast, and I kept auditioning. I started getting little teeny tiny roles, but it was like 2 years before I got my first featured role, which was Nina Tucker in Full Metal Alchemist. So like it's a long time, because I know a lot of people, they like auditioned one time and then they got a lead role, Monica Rial, like Colleen Clinkenbeard, Laura Bailey. Those folks, they just like went, knew what they were doing and like nailed it. And I was just like, hi, I don't know how to do this. I want to, so I'm going to keep trying and keep learning.
So, firstly, Brina, that story has genuinely made my day. Thank you so much. I could literally see the one person pop their head out on their cubicle, like look around. Something's happening.
Like she's like.
Secondly, 1 million applauses for your resilience. That is so cool. And thirdly, yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, it's funny because there are so many times that I wanted to quit because I was just like, I suck at this. Like, I never get cast. And actually, Sunny Straight, who's a freaking legend, he auditioned me one time, and he wasn't even auditioning. He wasn't casting the show. He wasn't the director, but he was just running the auditions. And I think it was for Galaxy Railways. And I went into the audition just being like, ugh, God, I don't know why I keep going into these. They're never going to cast me. And he told me after my audition, he was like, listen, even if you don't get cast in this, I just want you to know, and he didn't know me at all. This is the first time he had met me. He was like, even if you don't get cast in this, I just want to make sure that you know that you're really good at this. So you should keep trying. And I was like, thank you. I was just like, it was like exactly, because I truly was like, went into that just being like, God, I'm just never, why am I wasting my time? Because I was driving so often, because I was living in Denton at the time. I was going to, by then I had transferred colleges, and I was driving like an hour, like every time just to go and not make anything happen. And so like, and you know, sure enough, I did not get cast in that thing that he was running the audition for. But because he said that, I kept trying. And then like, I think the first like lead role that I got was Maho in Beck. I don't know if you guys have Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. It's a very underrated show. But like I cried when I got that role.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, yeah, because once again, I was just like, okay, I'm just always going to be like a side character. That's fine. I'm never going to be a lead character. That's just not a thing that is in the cards for me. And so like I was on a road trip in the mountains. Whenever they called. Yeah, I was like, there was something going on. I think we were lost or something. I think we were lost in the mountains, and then I got a call, and I was like so pessimistic. I was like, oh, this is probably them calling to like tell me that I didn't get it, which they don't do. I don't know why I thought that. Like they don't call to tell you didn't get a role. You just don't ever hear from them. And so, oh no, I know what it was. I was like, they're just calling to ask me to be on like to do a bit part. They're not gonna have me do the role. And then when they said that they wanted me as Maho, I was like, really? Like for real now?
Well, this your whole story reminds me of a quote, and like not to get like super hippie vibes over here, but success happens when opportunity meets preparation. So I mean, you were prepared, you had the opportunity, and I mean, like, look at you now, super cool, kick-ass career behind you.
Honestly, if you would have told me even back then that I would end up where I am now, I probably wouldn't have believed you at all. Like just because I was just so certain, like, I'm not very good at this. And I said that, and I even remember the first time that I had like a 4-hour-long session, because everything that I would go in for, because I was just playing bits, it's like I would just read for like an hour and then I was done, or even less. And so when I went in for a full 4-hour session, and it's like it can be kind of grueling, and I was like doing, you know, some weird voice or whatever. I don't remember what the voice was, but I remember thinking like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I don't know if I could do this like consistently. Turns out I could. It just took a lot of time.
And then I just taking you right back to Dragon Ball Z, and when you walked into Funimation and you saw like the voice, like you saw Piccolo IRL, and now you've been able to contribute to the anime sphere. I'd love to hear how, with you coming in as a fan, you must have so many of those, oh my god, that was so cool moments, like while you're in the booth, like is he fangirling there on the side while you're busy recording? Is that a thing?
Well, I think so I have a tendency to, like, as soon as I accomplish something, then I just kind of go like, oh, well, then it must suck. Like if I did it, then like, then this whole thing is all a ruse and none of this is actually cool. If I'm doing it, it couldn't possibly be that cool. I don't feel that way anymore. But I feel like gotten over that. But I tended to not, I'm not someone that fangirls a lot. Like, I don't get starstruck super easily. Like, even when we were recording, or when I was like watching Chris record, I wasn't starstruck with him. I was just more impressed with the whole setup. I was just kind of like, this looks like a dope job. I want this job. Like, it wasn't like me going like, oh, he's so amazing. It was just kind of like, I want your job.
Yeah.
I want to do but like, yeah, I think that there was one moment when I was helping Chris with Dragon Ball Kai, and he asked me to do some assistant directing, and I was like, well, that's cool. And then we started recording. We were recording the Cell Saga, and the Cell Saga was the same like story arc that we got to watch part of it be recorded when we went to go, like, that's what I saw being recorded was part of the Cell Saga, and when I was like 16. And so like then being in the director chair, like not just being a voice actor but being in the director chair and working on that same thing, I was like I got like, it kind of gave me chills a little bit. Like in the moment, I would like it was one of the few times that I actually did take a moment and just be like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is my life. Like, this is so cool. Like, I never would have thought that I would have ended up here. It was so neat. And then I think my favorite thing to do though in the Dragon Ball universe was getting to be music director for the Dragon Ball Super theme songs. That was really fun.
Jeez, that's like let's not call yourself the music director. Let's call yourself the anthem director, because those get ingrained into pop culture as like an anthem. That is so cool.
Yeah. I remember being in LA whenever Anime Expo was going, and it was like in the middle of downtown LA, and I guess they must have had some sort of Anime Expo thing up, and like I heard one of the themes, but they were playing it in English, so they were like, singing my lyrics, and I was like, ah!
It's so cool.
Yeah, that was another moment that I remember. Like, anything Dragon Ball related is typically where I have that moment of like, because that has the most like sentimental like meaning to me.
Yeah, I still can't get over it. Where you were saying, Chris, where he was busy recording, like I'm just picturing you walking up to him and being like, "Hey, I'm a big fan. I'm coming for your job. Best you watch out." I would have paid so much money to be there for that.
It's way too shy to have said that, but I definitely had that thought.
Yeah. We're all friends here. It's an open space. All right, so we're celebrating Women's Month in August. Let's chat about being a woman in the voiceover industry. Is it very unique? Is there certain struggles that women face that are necessarily ignored by men? I think what challenges do you face, and what is it like being a woman in this industry?
I think maybe what makes it unique is that voice acting women have more opportunity than on-camera women or on-stage women, in the sense that we also get to play boys.
Yeah,
so,
true.
There's a very large span of types of characters and archetypes that we get to play in the voice acting realm that we don't really get to play anywhere else, because I guess the thing that is tough for women in general, at least in my experience, is that women aren't often written well. They're not often given a ton of depth. There are absolutely exceptions to that rule, and I've been very, very lucky to get to play a lot of those exceptions to that rule. But a lot of my favorite characters are the boys that I have voiced, like especially Ciel Phantom Hive is a great example. Like, so much depth to that character, so complicated, like so many emotions going on. I feel like it's a lot more common in the boy roles than it is in the female roles. But like I said, since it's in the voice acting realm, I still get to play all of them.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Really fun, yeah. And I mean, there's certainly sexism in the same way that there is sexism everywhere. I know that, like, I've noticed that a lot in the video game sessions that I do, like video game voice sessions that I do, like, I find that like a lot of times male directors have the need to explain to me how a video game works.
Oh no.
Weird. Because it's not that I'm like a hardcore gamer, but I did used to be a pretty big gamer, and then I had to stop due to addiction issues. But like it's just, I don't know. It's just like a funny, weird, like, yeah, I know how a video game. Like I know what like, I'm not a freaking idiot. Like, so it's just kind of like a funny. That's kind of a funny thing, but I would say overall, I experienced significantly more sexism in the on-camera realm than I do in any of the like video game or anime or animation stuff. It's not to say that it's not there, but like there's just way more in the on-camera world.
Sure. I can just. Oh yeah. So sorry, Brina.
I was going to say in my experience. I was just adding that. Just in my.
Oh no stress. I can remember how blown my mind was when, and I know it's not necessarily anime, but when I found out that Nancy Cartwright voices Bart Simpson, I was like, what? That's also something that's so cool about VA, is exactly like you were saying. You could be the popular kid, you could be the unpopular kid, you could be the mom, you could be the dad. That's just so exciting that you get to explore that way. And specifically for girls, having, with your experience in mind, what advice would you give? I know that you've given some golden nuggets along the way, like focus on the acting. Voices aren't necessarily the only thing that's important in VA, but specifically for women entering the industry, is there a nugget that you wanna pass on?
Ooh, gosh. Specifically to women, I would say don't let anyone convince you that you don't know what you're doing. You can be a director. You can be a higher up. Like, you can be a leader in the industry. There is absolutely no reason that you can't be. Like, there will absolutely be people who will try to demean your knowledge, like, to, just kind of like downplay what your skill set is. Like, know yourself, know your skills, know that you're smart, know that you're capable, and just like do it. Like, just do it. Even if people say that you can't. Like, I mean, the amount of times that I was like banging my head against a wall of like, how do I do this? Like, if I would have stopped then, I don't know what I'd be doing now. I just kept, I don't know why. I just always had that like drive to just keep going. Even when the person who was telling me that I sucked and I didn't know what I was doing was myself, I still like somehow had another part of me that was like, it doesn't matter, just keep trying. So yeah, don't let anybody tell you can't do it. You can do it.
That's a really powerful message. Thank you so much, Brina. That was awesome. I have one more question to ask you before we wrap up. You seem to be taking quite fondly to video games. Is there what is it about video games that like really gets you excited apart from mocap? I've also, again, Mythbusters time, the sequel, Brina and Kelvin, we're back. I've heard about the Scream sheets before, where they just kind of give you like a pile of paper and they're like, character falls off cliff, and then character gets stabbed, character, like, is that true? Mythbusters time.
No, that's definitely true. You get like they usually wait to do it in your last session so that you don't get blown out for everything else. But yeah, no, it's like just a list of like hits. It'll just be like, all right, you're hit in the face, you're hit in the stomach, or some of them will make it even more broad. It'll just be like a big hit, a small hit, a medium-sized hit, a death hit, and that's all the information. Sometimes I want to be more specific, but like, yeah, no, and it's usually pretty long. It's usually a lot of screaming, a lot of like but getting choked, like that. Yeah, it's all like weird reaction stuff.
That's like a whole, because I really love video games. So hearing like all these myths get busted and like hearing what it's like, this is a very cool moment for me. Thank you so much for sharing. And another thing that I'm, again, curiosity, that while you're doing mocap, that camera that goes in your face, is that distracting at all? Is it like flexible to move in the mocapping?
So it's a challenge for sure. Like the camera, and then also the utility belt that has like your sound pack on it and all the batteries and stuff that like powers your suit. Like it's kind of heavy and uncomfortable. You get used to it, but it's a pain. The camera in the face, because it's not just the camera, it's also a really bright light that you have to turn on once you actually start going. You get used to it, but like it's a challenge for sure. Like it's really hard. But yeah, I mean, overall, I just, I like I said, I used to play video games quite a bit. Like, I mean, but this is like way back in the day when like video games were nowhere near to the incredibleness that they are now. Now I will allow myself to watch my husband play sometimes. But I think the reason that I like working on them so much is that I find that the scripts are just so good. Like like there was one of the years that I was living in LA and I was auditioning a lot, and it was pilot season. So pilot season is like in the TV world is like where you are reading. They're like auditioning for all of the new series that are coming or whatever. And I remember there was one year that every single role that I read for, I was like, this script is horrible, except like one. There was like one script. No, there were two scripts that I was like, these are good. And that's it. One of them never got picked up. And then the other one was actually The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, wow.
Big series. But yeah, that pilot was so good. It was like the only pilot that I had read that year that I was like, this is phenomenal. But with video game scripts, and I think this is a lot to do with just also being lucky, because I do know that there are tons of video games that have like really terrible female characters that are just like so, have zero depth of any kind. But for the most part, the games that I was reading for, all of the women characters were like powerful, but also vulnerable and nuanced and like not just one thing. And it was just and the dialogue was gorgeous. Like it was just so well written. And I just wasn't seeing that in the TV world at all. I don't know why that is, but like that's the biggest thing. When you have good material like that and you have good dialogue like that, it makes your job as an actor so much easier, instead of like, when you do a TV series and then you're just constantly like, I'm sorry, why am I saying this? Like, what is the point of this? I don't understand. There are times that I've been on camera before that I've literally just been like, I would rather just not have a line than say this.
Yeah. And then Brina, just to wrap up, I think that the fans would be, there'd be a riot outside my house if I didn't ask if you can share any upcoming details about upcoming projects, what you can and can't share.
Shoot, I don't know what I can and can't share. I'm so bad at that. I need to like ask more often what I can actually talk about. I also don't know what is released in South Africa.
So we pretty much get a similar release schedule to you guys. So what is made available that side, we also get access to this side. So that's exciting.
Okay, so you guys, if you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend Fruits Basket. It's that's one of my favorite newer roles that I've gotten to do. I play Zuzu the horse. But yeah, like highly recommend that. Very emotional show, really beautiful, gorgeous animation. And then what else am I allowed to say? I
don't know. I feel like chatting to you, I like care enough so that you don't get in trouble, but at the same time, I value my address not leaking. So I'm like, should I stop her from thinking? Should I just let it happen?
I think So yeah, Fruits Basket for sure. The second season of Zombieland Saga has started. So any Zombieland Saga fans out there, that's happening. It's very exciting. What else am I allowed to say? I'm not sure.
All right. I think for your security over there.
Gray area. Like I like say one, and then you see like actual security people like helicopter.
Yeah.
And, like
this interview is over.
Yeah.
And then Brina, finally, where can people find you? How can we support you? Anything else that you'd like to add to the back end of this?
I am on Instagram the most. Although I don't post a lot about anime, I mostly post about gardening. But my Instagram is Brinakins, Brinakins, and then I'm also on Twitter, and I do Twitter maybe once a month at Brina Palencia. But if you follow me on either one, you're technically supporting me, because nowadays they actually look at how many followers you have.
Look at that.
Yeah, it actually like affects casting these days, which is crazy.
Whoa, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow, what a time.
Even though I don't post, I do appreciate a follow.
Yeah. Well, Brina, thank you so much. This has been a really, really cool chat. Thank you for myth busting with us. When will we return? When there's another myth to be busted. But thank you so much. It's been so great chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anime is full of amazing and inspiring characters, but today we thought we would take a look at some interesting female characters. I'm Jordan for Comic-Con Africa,
joined by Robbie,
and this is our list of top 10 badass female characters in anime. Number 10, Shiba Miyuki, Mahuka. Shiba Miyuki is a first-year student in Course 1 of the first high school. She is the younger sister of Shiba Tatsuya, though many do not realize at first. She is a bloom, which is considered the upper class. She is currently the freshman representative and is well known throughout the school. Described as very beautiful and often the center of attention everywhere she goes, she is still a modest and kind-hearted person. She has a warm and loving nature and defends her brother anytime she can. It is heavily hinted that she has romantic feelings towards her brother, which she occasionally shows. Miyuki either cries or gets angry when someone pities or downgrades her brother, often coming to his defense. A cool and collected personality, but with an undertone of danger, Miyuki's ice magic fits her perfectly. She is a kind-hearted and powerful mage, and it's for these reasons we have given Miyuki a cool 10 on our list.
Number 9, Toka Kirishima, Tokyo Ghoul. Referred to as Rabbit by ghoul investigators, Toka is a ghoul successfully posing as a human and working as a waitress at a cafe which serves as a gathering place for other ghouls, as well as a food resource center. She saves Kaneki's life at one point and acts as a reluctant guide to him and his adaptation to ghoul society. She's very serious, tough, and hard-working, trying to keep their district as safe for ghouls and humans as possible. Her powers and strength are also quite great, and she makes for a formidable opponent. Her speed and agility make her a significant threat on the battlefield, and is not to be taken lightly. It's for these reasons Toka has hopped on in to our number 9 spot.
Number 8, Ursa Scarlet, Fairy Tail. Ursa Scarlet is an S-class mage of the Fairy Tail Guild, the strongest still active female, and one of the main female protagonists in Team Natsu. She is almost always wearing an armored suit. However, thanks to her re-equip magic, she can wear many magic armors. She wears a standard medieval armor, but has several other themed armors such as Flame or Lightning Empress, which absorb the respected magic type, Adamantium, Samurai Style, and more. Ursa is a very strict person, often criticizing the bad behavior and habits of the other guild members, causing most of them to apologize for fear that they might invoke her wrath. She is also impatient, liking people who answer her questions quickly, as seen when she promptly knocks out anyone who does not answer her questions, despite them not knowing anything. She has a great sense of justice. Despite being a very strict person, she seems to have a clumsy side to her too, as seen when she fell into a pit. Strong, beautiful, and a little bit strange in her own ways, you will never have a dull moment with Erisa on your party. And it's for these reasons Erisa has equipped herself with our number 8 spot.
Number 7. Shiki Ryoki, Garden of Sinners. A teenage girl who possesses the mystic eyes of death perception, a supernatural ability that allows her to view the death of any given object and destroy its origin. She recently recovered from a 2-year coma caused by a traffic accident. Prior to the traffic accident, she had 2 personalities, a male and a female personality, both known as Shiki. It is easy to tell which Shiki is speaking at any given time because both personalities have a very distinct style of speech. Most notably seen when the female Shiki refers to herself with the pronoun watashi, while the male Shiki refers to himself as ore. After awaking from her coma, Shiki discovers that she can no longer feel the male Shiki's presence and assumes he died because of the accident. She also feels a detachment from her memories before the accident, and while she knows she is still Shiki, she does not feel that she is. In the hopes of regaining herself and the dead Shiki, she puts on a cold facade that somewhat resembles the female Shiki's. Toko understands the sense of detachment Shiki feels, but considers the current Shiki a third new personality. An interesting character with many hidden traits and secrets. When Shiki is on screen, you can't help but want to see what happens next, and that's why Shiki has been perceived to be the most fitting for our number 7 spot.
Number 6. Riza Hawkeye, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Riza Hawkeye is Roy Mustang's most trusted subordinate. She carries out many of the tasks he is too lazy to do, acts as his personal assistant, and protects him from danger. She also doubles as his voice of reason, keeping cool in heated situations and scolding him when he allows his emotions to get in the way. Riza specializes in firearms, particularly sniper rifles, and can hit nearly any target with lethal accuracy. She adopts a dog called Black Hayate in both the anime and the manga, which she raises with stern discipline. When Hayate goes to the bathroom inside, she shoots at the wall behind him to reinforce that doing so is bad. Questionable training methods aside, Riza is an impeccable marksman and is unmatched in her accuracy. She fights many opponents who on paper should be strong and manages to come out on top. Strong, smart, and beautiful, Riza is an amazing lieutenant that anyone would be thrilled to have at their side in a fight. And it's for this reason Riza has managed to snipe our number 6 spot.
Number 5. Mereoleonia Vermilion, Black Clover. Mereoleonia has a hostile attitude and short temper. She is a loud and aggressive woman who believes actions show more than words. However, despite this, Mereoleonia shows a deep understanding in how to motivate others, even those she has just met. She respects anyone who is willing to get strong and does not judge others based off of their upbringings or lineage. She dislikes the royal capital, so she spends most of her year out in the wilderness, hunting wild animals and basking in natural mana. Despite her dislike and initial refusal for the captaincy, she takes over when her younger brother, Fuegoleon Vermilion, is incapacitated and leads the Royal Knights in an attack on the Eye of the Midnight Sun, hoping to avenge her brother. Loyal and proud, this is one person you don't want to get on the wrong side of. Her fire magic is powerful and dangerous, forcing her opponents into a corner with the greatest of ease and with the veracity of a lion. For these reasons, Mereoleonia has blazed the trail straight into our number 5 spot.
Number 4. Mikasa Ackerman, Attack on Titan. After her parents were murdered by human traffickers, Mikasa was rescued by Eren Yeager and lived with him and his parents Grisha and Carla before the fall of Wall Maria. Though she desires only to live a peaceful life, Mikasa entered the military where she is considered the best soldier among the 104th Training Corps. She later enlists in the Survey Corps to follow and protect Eren, becoming one of its greatest assets. She is currently serving as an officer in the Corps. Mikasa cares deeply for her friends and caretakers, seeing them as the last remnants of a family she cannot afford to lose. She also appears to have a soft spot for children, Mikasa is not completely immune to the effects of her emotions. However, her strong feelings for her beloved ones, particularly when they're in harm's way, does at times cloud her judgment in fury, sometimes to the endangerment of herself and others. Mikasa has a strong sense of right and wrong, doing everything she can to make her most impulsive friends follow what she thinks is right. Despite this, she understands she cannot always sway them in decisions and makes it a point to follow them wherever they go, just so that she can be around to help whenever trouble arises. Mikasa is a powerful woman, not to be messed with. No powers or fantasy-style skills needed. She beats the greatest of foes with skill and determination. It's for this reason Mikasa has swung onto our number 4 spot.
Number 3, Revi, Black Lagoon. Revi, sometimes referred to by her full name Rebecca, is the female protagonist of the series. She does most of the fighting for the Lagoon Company. Revi is one of the deadliest fighters in the series, whose skill with the firearms and ability to dodge bullets is almost superhuman and unparalleled. There are only a few other characters, such as Roberta and Genji, that can hold their ground against her in combat. Her weapons of choice are a pair of modified Beretta 92 FSs. They are engraved with 9mm sword cutlasses on both sides, as well as a Jolly Roger symbol of the infamous pirate Calico Jack. Due to her ambidextrous marksmanship skills, she is nicknamed Two-Hand by the denizens of Roanover. However, Revi has been seen using a variety of other firearms. Constantly living on the edge, Revi has developed a rather bleak and almost nihilistic outlook on life. Relying only on her own power, skill, and money, she does not believe in God or emotions. However, she seems to respect and trust her companions. Revi is a lone rider and does not take shit from anyone, and it's for this reason Revi has capped herself as our number 3 spot.
Number 2, Tsunade Senju, Naruto Shippuden. Tsunade is the granddaughter of the first Hokage. She is one of the legendary Sani. Since becoming Hokage, Tsunade has primarily acted as a source of assignments and mobilizes Konoha's forces when need be. In addition, Tsunade plays a large role in healing the more severe injuries that befall upon those she sends on missions. At the end of part 1, Haruno Sakura becomes Tsunade's apprentice. Tsunade's trademark ability is her inhuman strength, which is derived from her excellent chakra control. By storing chakra and releasing it at the point of contact, she can enhance her strength to the point where she can break through boulders with her bare hands. She is also an extremely talented medical ninja and can heal wounds that most others would consider impossible. As a result of her chakra control and her medical abilities, Tsunade has created a form of regeneration. So she really is near 50 years old, but looks like she's in her 20s. Tsunade is a great leader, being calm and level-headed, making the right decisions when they matter the most. Despite her gambling addiction, Tsunade is a powerful female character with many achievements under her belt. This is definitely one woman you don't want to mess with, and it's for this reason Tsunade has smashed onto our number 2 spot. Honorable mention, Korra, Avatar, Legend of Korra. Korra is the current incarnation of the Avatar and immediate successor of Avatar Aang. Born and raised in the Southern Water Tribe, where she mastered waterbending, earthbending, and firebending, she later relocated to Republic City to attain a similar proficiency with airbending under the tutelage and guidance of Tenzin, as well as to help her overcome her aversion to the spiritual aspects of the bending arts. With the assistance of Aang's spirit, Korra gained the ability to energy bend, and after connecting with her past lives, she gained the capacity to enter the Avatar state at will, marking her transition into a fully realized Avatar. On the surface, Korra is fierce, independent, and aggressive, but beneath her tough exterior, she possesses a strong loyalty towards her friends and a duty as the Avatar. She also has admirable compassion and devotion, demonstrated when she expresses love toward things such as her family and friends. Her offensive battle style means that she is always quick to initiate or rise to a challenge, and is similarly quick-witted and impulsive, especially in heated situations. Avatar, The Legend of Korra may not technically be an anime, but the community's general consensus is that the Avatar franchise is definitely an honorary one. So we just had to have the most badass female Avatar, aside from Kyoshi of course, somewhere on our list, and that's why we have Avatar Korra as our honorable mention.
Number 1. Violet Evergarden. Violet Evergarden. Violet is a newcomer to the CH Postal Company and works as an auto memory doll, a ghostwriter for people who cannot write or are looking for help expressing their emotions in letters. As an abandoned and nameless child, Violet was found by Navy officer Datefried. Her combat prowess was discovered when she killed several soldiers who attempted to assault her before he could stop them. Violet then stalked and killed all the other crew members. For reasons he did not understand, Violet spared Datefried and obeyed his orders. Later, Datefried brought Violet home and gave her to his brother, Gilbert, in the military as a gift for his promotion to Major, intending for Gilbert to use her as a tool for war while not wanting to handle Violet himself. Gilbert, instead, treated her as a human, taught her how to speak, read, and write, and named her Violet, wishing she could grow up to be as beautiful as the flower. During the war, she repeatedly played a vital role in battles. Trying to save Gilbert in the war's decisive battle, she lost both her arms. With the war over, her arms were replaced with advanced metallic prosthetics, and she decided to become an auto-memory doll, to learn the meaning of the words, "I love you," Gilbert's last words to her before they became unconscious in the battlefield. Violet Evergarden is a beautifully animated series by Kyoto Animations. It is a series about finding oneself in a world that they do not understand. The series follows Violet as she deals with a plethora of difficult emotional situations which would leave most people in a state of shock or dismay. And for someone who finds it difficult to understand emotions, Violet must figure out what it means to love. This series is a gem that is 100% not to be missed and comes with the Robo Robbie seal of a masterpiece. So if you have not seen it yet, we highly recommend you do. And that's why Violet Evergarden has been lovingly given our number 1 spot.
That's it for our list of top badass women in anime. Let us know in the comments if you agreed with our list and if you will be taking a peek at any of these amazing series in the comments below. We do this all for the fans, so please show your support by subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell to be the first to get access to our awesome content. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video and be sure to leave us a comment down below, and we will be sure to see you all in the next one.